What's up everyone and welcome back to the UFC News Hub. Today let's get started with Daniel Cormier criticizes Conor McGregor for president run. Conor McGregor's political ambitions may be facing some serious obstacles, and it seems like his plans to make the jump from MMA champion to politician are running into trouble. Despite McGregor's own confidence in his future political career, the reality might not be as welcoming as he hoped. A recent poll conducted by the Irish Times, surveying 188 of Ireland's 949 councillors, revealed that there's very little support for McGregor within the Irish government. It's clear that the former champion has his work cut out for him if he wants to make a real political impact. And it's not just the government that's skeptical. Many in the MMA community don't seem to be backing him either. On a recent episode of Good Guy, Bad Guy with Chael Sonnen, UFC Hall of Famer Daniel Cormier didn't hold back when it came to criticizing McGregor's political ambitions. The Conor McGregor of 2015, 2017, and 2016, the one that went 8 rounds with Floyd Mayweather, that Conor McGregor was in a rush to greatness, Cormier said, adding that the fire and drive that McGregor once had seemed to be a thing of the past. If that's gone, it's over. But to be a politician, hell, I think people in Ireland don't even like him. Everybody I speak to is like, I can't stand this dude. Cormier continued, making it clear that McGregor's transition from fighter to political figure may not have the widespread support he thinks it does. Cormier went on to express his doubts about McGregor's decision to pursue politics, calling it a little bit ridiculous. The politics angle for me is a little bit ridiculous, but we'll see what happens, Cormier said. It's hard to ignore the reality that McGregor's popularity in Ireland is facing serious challenges. After being dropped by proper number 12 whiskey last year and having his beverages pulled from shelves, McGregor found himself at the center of controversy. This was especially true after a high-profile legal case in November that sparked protests across Ireland. Hundreds of Irish citizens took to the streets, voicing their dissatisfaction with the former champ. All of this points to a difficult road ahead for McGregor if he plans to transition into the political world. With his past controversies still fresh in the public's mind, combined with the lack of support within both the Irish government and MMA community, it's clear that McGregor has a tough climb ahead if he's serious about running for office. Before we continue, subscribe and click the bell icon to help support the channel. Josh Emmett sends a warning to Lerone Murphy. Josh Emmett is clearly ready to make a statement ahead of his highly anticipated fight with Lerone Murphy this weekend at the Apex. The 145-pound fighter wasted no time sending a strong warning to Murphy, a rising star in the division, and let him know exactly what to expect when the two face off. During a recent media appearance, Emmett made it clear that Murphy is about to experience a rude awakening come fight night. He acknowledged Murphy's talents, but pointed out that the young prospect has never faced anyone quite like him before. Emmett confidently declared, "I know he says he's still learning on the job, but there's no learning on the job when you're in there with me. He's good, but he's never fought anybody like me. I know he thinks he's fought someone similar to me, but no one he's fought is even close to me. He's going to be in for a rude awakening on Saturday night," said Josh Emmett. Emmett, currently ranked 8th in the featherweight division, clearly isn't underestimating Murphy's ability. However, he is firm in his belief that when they finally share the cage, it will be Murphy who finds himself out of his depth. On the other hand, Murphy is aiming high, making it clear that he has his eyes on a title shot. The 27-year-old fighter has openly stated that beating Emmett is the key to unlocking his shot at the title, citing Ilia Topuria's rise to a championship fight after a victory over Emmett as his motivation. Murphy sees this fight as a clear #1 contender match. For me, this is a #1 contender fight. I feel like behind Lopez and Volkanovski, who are fighting the week after, I think this is the best fight in the division, Murphy shared during an interview. The up-and-comer also pointed out that by defeating Emmett, he would not only secure his place as a legitimate contender, but also prove his worth among the best in the division. Despite the focus on his own matchup this weekend, Emmett isn't blind to the broader landscape of the division. He's been paying attention to the upcoming title fight between Alexander Volkanovski and Yair Rodriguez, and he's got a take on the situation. During an interview with Pablo Verbeek, Emmett weighed in on who he believes will come out on top in that bout. It's a tough one. I can argue how both guys win. Volkanovski was such a dominant champion, I'm kind of leaning towards him, Emmett said. The veteran fighter recognizes Volkanovski's past success, despite a lengthy break to get his health right. However, Emmett also acknowledges Lopez's power, particularly in the early rounds. If Lopez does win, I think he catches him early in the first or second round. If he catches him, maybe he knocks him out, but if it goes into the third and especially the championship rounds, Volkanovski is going to be heavily favored, Emmett continued. In addition to preparing for his fight with Murphy, Emmett is on the brink of another impressive milestone. Heading into this weekend, Emmett has the chance to surpass every heavyweight in UFC history for the most knockdowns. As of now, the only fighter ahead of him in that regard is Junior Dos Santos, but Emmett is just 2 knockdowns away from tying him, adding another feather in his cap. This fight against Murphy is more than just a stepping stone, it's an opportunity for Emmett to continue making his mark in the record books, solidifying his legacy in the UFC. Dana White releases fighter from the UFC. In a surprising move that has fans talking, Dana White has officially released fighter CJ Vergara from the UFC. The news broke on Thursday when the UFC roster tracker account shared the update, notifying everyone that Vergara had been let go from the promotion. The 2021 Contender Series alum, who earned his UFC contract with a dominant first-round win back in 2021, has been through a roller coaster of ups and downs in his UFC career. His most recent fight, just this past weekend in Mexico City, saw him submitted by Edgar Chids, marking his 3rd straight loss and his 2nd consecutive first-round loss. For any fighter, back-to-back losses like that are tough, but 3 in a row can be a real turning point, and in Vergara's case, it seems like the UFC has decided that it's time to part ways. It's not just the losses, though. Vergara's career has been riddled with issues. His very first UFC appearance wasn't exactly smooth sailing, as he missed weight for his debut fight. That fight, which took place against Ode Osborne, ended in a decision loss for Vergara. It's never a good sign when a fighter not only loses, but also doesn't come in at the correct weight, as it raises concerns about their professionalism and readiness for the fight. But Vergara did manage to bounce back, earning a split decision win over Clayton Rodriguez in his next fight. However, the weight issues would come back to haunt him. In his next bout, Vergara missed weight once again, and this time he found himself submitted by Tatsuro Taira. After that, he managed to put together a couple of wins in 2023, but the momentum was short-lived. Just when it seemed like he could turn things around, Vergara found himself missing weight for a 3rd time, which set the stage for his most recent loss, a decision defeat to Asu Almabayev. That loss kicked off what would become a 3-fight skid, and it ultimately spelled the end of his UFC journey. It's always unfortunate when a fighter's career with the UFC comes to an end, but it's clear that in this case, the organization decided to move on. It's a tough business, and sometimes a string of losses and recurring issues like weight misses can make it difficult for a fighter to stay in the promotion. This is just one of those tough decisions that's part of the sport. So what does the future hold for CJ Vergara? Only time will tell. He'll no doubt look to rebuild his career and perhaps take on new opportunities outside the UFC. As fans, we've seen fighters come back from difficult situations before, and there's always a chance for a comeback in this sport. But for now, Vergara's UFC run has officially come to an end. This release is just one more reminder of how unforgiving the fight game can be. But it also serves as a moment for us to appreciate the incredible highs and lows that come with being a fighter in the world's biggest MMA promotion.